Okay, so I'm going to start recording. Hello, everybody. My name is Rishi, and I'm here to talk about organizing and setting up a geodesign study. For those who are not familiar, we'll start with what is geodesign. Basically, geodesign is a collaborative design activity by scientists, architects, engineers, and planners. And basically, geodesign provides a systematic way to create a design and enables these people to work together on projects. A little bit of the background about how I got started in this. In 2014, I attended a workshop organized by Professor Carl Steinitz, and that's me over there. And basically, it was a geodesign workshop in Lisbon, Portugal. And at that time, everything was done on pen and paper. So as you can see, these are transparencies where people are drawing project ideas, and we're trying to figure out what the future for the Tagus estuary in Lisbon is. I got inspired and motivated by the workshop so much that I did my PhD in geodesign from the Center for Advanced Spatial Analysis in UCL. And essentially, I completed it, and after that, I started Geodesignhub. Basically, with Geodesignhub, you can do the same workshops that you just saw on a computer. So here you see people working on design using a computer, and of course, because it's online and on a computer, it can be projected. And we've done many such workshops now. You can think of it as a Google Docs for design, where many people get together online to work on a design. So Geodesignhub is a software as a service, and it enables collaborative design. There is nothing inherent in the software. It is designed to link external models and data. And it is used to manage complex geodesign projects and potentially politically contentious projects. It is generally used when you want to engage a lot of people in your design problem, when you want to generate a strategy collaboratively and explore alternatives very, very quickly. So if you have a very complicated, difficult design problem, things like how should this area look like, or the population is going to double, what do I do? Those type of problems, you apply Geodesignhub on them. And generally using Geodesignhub, basically you save time and money in reaching that consensus and negotiations. In addition to myself, the company is advised by Professor Carl Steinitz and Dr. Stephen Irwin, both from Harvard University's Graduate School of Design, and they are kind of pioneers in the field of geodesign, so they are involved in the company as well. Our customers include government agencies, local authorities, housing and infrastructure developers, civic groups, architects and town planners, and also universities and academics. So basically, these people are the one who have firstly a design problem and use Geodesignhub to solve that. Just a few images. Essentially, as I mentioned, universities, citizen groups, and private design companies are basically using Geodesignhub at the moment. Essentially, these people use Geodesignhub when they want to kind of serve their clients and think about how you build a climate change and resilience strategy, or use this in planning and infrastructure design, or cultural, environmental, and tourist asset management. It's been used to make tourism plans, for example, and citizen engagement and local community plans. And of course, because it's all digital and online, you can do quite advanced spatial analysis with it as well. I'm going to talk to you about how you get about starting a geodesign project. You start with the problem, which is a basic description of what you're trying to solve for. Things like, I want to build a local plan. I want to build a tourism management strategy. My region is facing climate change. What do I do? Those sort of abstract notion of a problem. Then you kind of drill it down a little bit and break down the problem into its components, into systems, which I will get into shortly. You do a research and build those models. Then it all culminates into a 1-day or a 2-day workshop where you invite all the other stakeholders in the project and do the design. And then after that, you review and take the data out of Geodesignhub. So in a nutshell, that's how the whole process works. There are 5 steps to just what I mentioned. Essentially, you define the problem, then you make the models, then you collect the data, Use of GIS is optional. If you have a very complicated problem, probably you should use GIS, but that's optional. You create the project and then have the workshop, and then you take it out. And essentially that's kind of the 5 steps to organizing and setting up a geodesign project. To illustrate this process, I'm going to show you a case study that we did in last year to kind of show you how you can kind of walk through this process. The case study is in Cagliari, Sardinia, and to show you that, I'm going to switch my PowerPoints. So this is the study that we did on the 10th and 11th of May 2016, just about a year ago. And the area that we studied was in Cagliari, which is the capital city of the island of Sardinia in Italy. And this was organized in conjunction with the University of Cagliari and the city, and of course Geodesignhub. So this is just an illustrative case study to show you how you go about planning and organizing a study. So the first thing that I must mention is that the problem here is that there is a new regulation in Italy where they are asked to think about a plan on a regional level. So previously there were different municipalities within this region, and now they're asked to think of planning in terms of the entire region. So of course this is on a much bigger scale because it's kind of encompasses 1/3 of the island of Sardinia, but you can think of it at a smaller scale because it's all digital. That's the study area, just to show you in perspective. And just a bit of a background about Cagliari if you haven't been there. It's the capital city of the island. It's the biggest city on the island. It has obviously a lot of cultural heritage and a beautiful historic, let's say, city center area. Markets, it's surrounded by agricultural lands and mountains, and of course tourism being an important source of revenue for the economy. And in addition, there is a port and a growing telecommunications industry in the island. Now, as I said to you, the problem in this case was planning various jurisdictions in the Cagliari region. And so we used existing GIS data that the municipality had provided. So in this case, it was existing land use, planned land use, urban settlements, and transport networks. So you can use GIS data if you have it. And we divided the problem into 10 systems, as we call it. And all of this happens before the workshop. So this is the making of the models and collecting data phase. In this case, there were cultural heritage, ecology, hazards, tourism, commerce industry, agriculture, high and low density housing, transport, and smart growth. So you can have up to 10 systems that you want to study. And once you have the 10 systems, you then collect the data and the models. And here they are collecting the models. And the goal initially, as a part of the preparation for the workshop, is to make 10 maps like you see on the screen here. And basically, these are red, yellow, green maps, which tell the designer where is a good opportunity to improve the system and where are the areas to stay away from. So in this case, in the center is commerce and industry. Basically, what this map tells you in dark green is these are good places for commerce and industry, and stay away from the countryside and the hillsides, which obviously are not that great for commerce and industry. So these type of maps have to be made using GIS data or by hand, and this is what they are doing. As I said, GIS use is optional, so it's up to you if you have the data and the skills for this. You do have to then set up some sort of basic impact models, in the sense that you have 10 systems. You have to set up in a very simple +2 to -2 scale how these systems interact with one another. So how does climate impact history, culture, and so on. And so this is also part of the setup project, which doesn't take a lot of time to set up. Once you have set all of this up, then you're ready for the 1-day or the 2-day event. So there is a little bit of work to be done before the workshop by what we would call as the project team. And then you kind of have this 1-day event. And this is the schedule. In this case, it was a 2-day workshop, but basically you can have it in 1 day or 1.5 day. The schedule is kind of flexible, so you can go through all of these steps on a shorter time as well. And this is how it looks like. So till now, only a select group of people have been involved in preparing the workshop. So like I showed you, maybe 2 or 4 people can set up the workshop working with us. And then these people basically all of the people who are sitting here have never seen Geodesignhub, have never experienced it, but they know that this is a design event that they need to attend or they want to attend. And so they come together at that time. So basically, till now, we have identified the project, made the maps, and now it's culminating into the workshop. And as you can see, it's usually done in an open room. So in this case, it was done in the university computer facility. In some cases, we have people bring their own laptops as well. And as long as you have a Wi-Fi and a laptop, you should be fine. In this case, the university provided the computers. And here's Professor Michele Campagna and Professor Karl Steinitz introducing the study area and kind of describing the problem to the people. We are doing introductions. And then these maps that were built earlier are then shown and kind of given the lay of the land, and people are briefed on what problem they're trying to solve, and then they begin. People are initially asked to make up suggestions to improve each of the systems. So in this case, as I mentioned to you, there are 10 systems, and what they're doing here is in a diagrammatic fashion, suggesting ideas that would improve each of these systems. So for example, for agriculture, it had improved production sustainability. This is the ideas for smart growth and so on. So they're basically building diagrams to improve each of the systems. And this is what a group of diagram looks like. This is, for example, the green infrastructure and the agricultural ideas that were put in that day. And everything has impacts as well. So everything that you do has a positive or a negative impact in the design. Once we have enough diagrams, usually after lunchtime, they are divided into 6 teams in this case, and what we call as a design team. And so they are metropolitan agencies, culture, history, regional government, greens, developers, tourism. So basically you then divide the people in the workshop into different teams, in this case 6, and then they are asked to pick from the diagrams that were made and create a set of designs. So in this case, basically they are picking diagrams from the set and creating a design that suits their client. So the developers think that this is a good design that will kind of satisfy the developers. The regional government does that, and so they are building in their own self-interest. Then we go through this sociogram exercise where we are comparing how these teams fit with each other. So in addition to a lot of analytical comparison, the teams are asked to present, and then they're asked to also vote for each other. So in the sense that they present their design and their scheme, and then the others are asked, say, do you like the scheme or not? So in this case, you can see that the tourism and the cultural heritage people like each other's scheme a lot. So you're trying to kind of bring down the 6 teams to a coalition of 3 or 2 potentially. And we have tools and kind of techniques in the workflow and as a part of the schedule to do that. So basically what happens is you have 6 designs, then you come to 3, and then you come to 2, and then you kind of get more kind of excited and intense, the workshop does. And you kind of have to do this negotiation exercise where you kind of bring it down to the final design. In this case, that was the design. And all of this, as you saw, happens in 1 or 2 days. And it's kind of, you need some preparation, you make the maps, then you invite the people who have never seen Geodesignhub. Then we train them very, very quickly. We've seen that we can train them in 30 minutes on the tool, and then they kind of negotiate to form one design. I'm going to switch windows here just to briefly show you Geodesignhub. Basically, this is Geodesignhub, and this is what the Colliery data set looks like. This is the evaluation map that was done earlier, as you can see. And also, these are the diagrams that were built. So basically, all of this happens online on the browser. This is the URL to join this project if you want to see it. I'm just going to leave it there for a couple of seconds. Now, I just wanted to kind of briefly touch upon how the financials of this, let's say, organizing this event kind of work. Basically, the mission of the company is to make available geodesign technologies to anybody who wants to do it. So the cost of the software is nominal. It's very, very low. And the bulk of the cost from organizing this workshop is around making the maps. So somebody has to spend time making the maps, collecting the data, and also kind of organizing the event itself. So, maybe if you were to do it in a hotel room, organizing that, inviting people, and so on. And so this kind of the core idea from this slide is essentially the more you do, as in the more skills you have in making maps and collecting the data, the less costly it is for you. So we support all types of customers. So we have people who have never done a geodesign project and have no resources from a GIS point of view, to people who are very, very skilled and have a GIS staff. So if you're very experienced, the cost can be as low as 500 euros for you. I made a small table to kind of illustrate this. Basically, if you think that the cost of creating a project in Geodesignhub is about 200 euros, and at the most it is 500. So anywhere between 2 to 500 euros will cost you for the software. So I just made it an approximate kind of a cost. Let's say you are organizing a workshop. I estimated 1,000 euros or dollars to organize this. Of course, this is very, very high. You may have a kind of a room available, or if you do it in a university, maybe it's not that expensive. So let's just assume 1,000 euros for the event and the venue and the food and all of that for the people who will come. And then I estimated about one junior analyst familiar with GIS for working for 3 weeks to make the maps and prepare the data. That's about 3,000 euros or dollars. And usually what we say is the first workshop we will conduct for you, and we train 1 or 2 people on your side to how to do it. And that usually is about $3,000 or euros, give or take. This is all obviously very variable. And also we say you have 10 hours of support. So what you're really looking at is, if you have never done this before and want to do this, it would be about 9,000 to 10,000 euros. And once you're familiar with the tool and you can take care of, let's say, all of these costs, it obviously goes much, much down. So essentially what you pay for the software is about 200 to 500, and the rest you can kind of use it within your staff. So basically what we're trying to say is that if once you know how to conduct the workshop, then your cost is very, very minimum, anywhere from 200 to 500, and the rest is kind of your revenue that you quote with your clients. And essentially with this, let's say, 5,000 to 7,000 euro investment, you get for your clients a climate change and a resilience strategy, planning and infrastructure design, tourism, cultural and environmental management plans, local plans, citizen engagement, and so on. And so that's the return that you get for the investment. As I must also mention that a lot of this has been tried and tested. So over the past 2 years, we've been doing many, many workshops, and so there is a very concrete set of things that you can get out of the tool as well. The bulk of as I said to you, money comes from support and training. I already mentioned that we support all types of users, basically users with no geodesign experience but are facing a problem. So basically you want us to come in and help you do the workshop and conduct the workshop for you, or people who are experienced and have GIS staff and know how to make the maps and so on. And so for them also we can support it. In addition, we have project management, administration, and developer training for your staff if that's what is important and useful for you. And as I said to you, the goal here is to help you get the most out of Geodesignhub. We conduct webinars regularly like this every month almost, and also we are at major conferences, the most kind of popular being Digital Landscape Architecture, which is happening in June, and also in the Geodesign Summit in Europe. So you can come to any of these conferences, take a workshop with us, get trained, and then after that, basically, you can do the projects and the maps yourself. So it's kind of up to you as to how you want to engage. And I'm just going to leave this contact information on the screen, and that's it. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll take questions as well.